Denise, and you'll hear why when we start talking. This is a moderated talk that we'll have. The focus is creating a movement with your message. And so Sandra is an author. She's a radio personality, a DJ, a speaker, and creator of Manifest Beauty. With a voice that commands the airwaves and energy that ignites every room, Sandra Denise is more than just a DJ and radio personality. She's a movement. From FM radio dominance to event stages, she has built a career on passion, authenticity, and an unshakable belief in turning life's challenges into opportunities. So Sandra, I'm gonna have you go to the back of the room and walk yourself on up to the stage, all right? All right, let's stand up and give a round of applause for our next speaker, Sandra Denise. So this is a candid conversation, and I'm grateful, thankful, and blessed that you're here. We had one conversation, and I asked the question, I'm like, I want to know your why. Like, what's the why behind your movement, behind your story? And she went on and on and on and on. And she was like, Tamara, you didn't ask all that, huh? I was like, absolutely, I did. Keep going. And so I told her about the event, and I thought it was perfect alignment with entrepreneurship. Because we all have stories, and leading with our stories, building with our stories, we can definitely create movements with our message. So I'm gonna turn it over to you and just share a little bit more about who you are, what you do, because I didn't elaborate too much on your full bio. It's extensive, it's in the program too.
I mean, sometimes when I even start thinking about all of the things that I've done, I feel like I'm making it up just a little bit. I feel like I've led about 20 different people's lives, and that was kind of my goal. So I'll preface by saying that first. As a kid, I really wanted to live. Like, I saw some things in life, I experienced some things in life that were not cool, abuse type of things, situations. And so I just couldn't wait until I got to be an adult, and nobody was gonna tell me what I had to do, right? So that was the premise and the foundation of pretty much most of the decisions that I made. And so I got into entertainment, but I don't really sing. I do like to dance, but I'm not that great of a singer. So I was like, how am I gonna do this? I fell into radio. I was a Pizza Hut manager and a school bus driver. And also kind of leaving an abusive relationship. I got chased around the country. At this point, I figured one of us is gonna have to die to get out of this situation. That's how deep it got, because I would be someplace in a completely different state, and this dude would show up.
Oh, wow.
Okay, and this is before the internet, right? And he didn't have money, so I really don't know how this happened. Like, I really don't get it. However, again, it was fuel for my fire. So I got dared by the school bus kids to go to the radio station or go on TV. They were like, "You're so funny, Miss Sandra. You should be on TV." And so one day they dared me, and I did. I went up to the radio station, and I said something crazy. I said, "I don't care what it is. I will wipe their ass and bring them donuts. I just want an internship here." And the lady looked at me, and she started cracking up. She was like, "You are so crazy. Wouldn't you rather get paid?" Yes. And so that began the journey of the career of how to get into entertainment. Entertainment, though, as you all know, is kind of crazy. Ups and downs, it goes in circles. You're hot one minute, then you're not. People love you, your phone is ringing, then it's not. Nobody knows who you are. It's a crazy situation. When I came out here to Connecticut, I was known as Lisa Evans, and kind of did my thing out here, right? It was a lot of fun. I still hear, 15 years later, I still hear stories of, oh my God, when we partied, when I went to your party, oh my God, you know what I mean? So I still hear stories like that. It was great. However, like I said, entertainment's a little crazy. I ended up, I don't know, I guess not making the owner very happy. There was this kind of like tug of war. He's got the money, nobody likes him. I don't have money, people like me. It can be a problem. I ended up getting blackballed and my name smeared. She's wild and crazy and all of that. So when that happened, I had already had a 10-year career in radio. I had already been #1 in Kansas, did my thing. Came out here thinking that it was gonna be just like this piece of cake, which it was. But when I got too big, it became a problem. And what happened afterwards, I never would have imagined would have happened. I went from being #1 and making all of this money, and Mohegan Sun, I got them in there with that. I made all of these connections to making $400 a month because they refused my unemployment. They said that I was working for P. Diddy, which that's a whole other story. When I wasn't, I was going there, but I wasn't actually working for them yet. And it was just a big, big turnaround. I had to move in with my mom, sleep on the couch for 3 years or something like that. It was a really, really, really bad time. And during that time, my spirituality, I've always kind of thought that I was a little, special because I would think something, and then it would happen. How I got my radio career, I would think about it and daydream and use my imagination and then follow the impulses that would happen. So I kind of thought I was special. I was like, oh, I'm a little special, So I need to be doing something. I can't just let the man keep me down, That's the way I felt about how am I going to get something. And I just heard this phrase, manifest beauty. No idea what it was going to be about. I just heard the phrase. I was like, thank you, God. I got it. Throughout my career, I decided that I was going to try some other things in entertainment, got into acting. This is why she's like, it's going to be moderated. Cassandra's story is more. So I got into acting. While I was in New York, this gentleman, I was working at Fine Arts. I was passing out brochures to museums because all of these little things that happen, and that's my story, that's my message to you, is these little things that happen that you think is detrimental to you. But when you continue to praise and you have a relationship with that has created all, yes, you're going to get these impulses. And when you get these impulses and follow them, then you're going to be met with situations that make you go, oh, maybe I'm on the right track. Okay, let me keep going. You don't have to have it all figured out, right? That's the point of this story. So when I was going around to all these museums for this man, he wanted to take the booklets and make them for all of the fine arts. Like this guy had gumption. Like, who is this guy? You want me to go to all of the museums and these stores on Fifth Avenue and tell them to forget their people who are making their brochures, fine arts is gonna make it. I had gumption, so I went on ahead and made it. And that gave me so many connections in New York. I didn't see it coming. So I ended up then getting on the radio out there, working with some celebrities, and this whole situation of what the heck is Manifest Beauty gonna be, I then decided to turn it into a movement.
Don't get it.
I won't get to that part yet.
Now you can y'all imagine us on the phone, right? I'm like, Sandra, I'm at work.
I give it all away.
Oh yeah, she gave it all away. So how did your story, your book come about? The authorship piece.
Well, every time I'm talking to people, this thing comes over me, and I would be giving them messages. I would be trying to talk about, your hair is pretty, and then something would come over me, and then I would start talking about, oh, maybe it's great that it's grown, and whoop, and your grandma, and you know what I mean? And then they'd be looking at me, and they'd be like, how'd you know? And I was like, it's this tapping, and then I would talk about manifestation, and they would be like, you know so much, oh my God, I learned so much, can you put it in a book? And I was just like, okay. And so after hearing that, a lot, you know what I mean? You have too much information, put it in a book, I just In 2018, I followed the impulse. I had always wanted to write a book, since I was a kid. I always wanted to write one about my life story, because again, I was aiming to lead such a life that it would make a great movie, right? And I followed the impulse, and I wanted to get that done before my grandmother passed. And when it happened, I don't know, it was like June, July or something, all of a sudden the download came. I sat in front of the computer, and I just wrote it out. Now, I self-published. I decided, I am one of those, I'm a very, like to do it myself kind of a gal, and I want to learn how to do something, figure it out, and then do it. I'm not doing it for accolades, I'm not doing it, for other people's response. It's just, it makes me happy. I taught myself how to swim. My mother loves to tell everybody that. She watched the Olympics, she watched Greg Louganis, and then she went in the pool and started swimming. I used to steal her car so I could teach myself how to drive. So I'm one of those. So when it came, it just came. I put it out, and it ended up on Walmart.com. And it's around the world and translated in a lot of different languages. The first one, I'll show you mine. The first one.
Manifest Beauty.
Yes, friends.
And so how did you, from the book, and just take notes and think about where you are on your journey of authorship, from the book, creating the movement, what was that like for you, and what you do now?
The funny thing is that when I got blackballed, right, and I was sleeping on friends' couches and walking everywhere, because my car also got repossessed, by the way, and I lived in the woods where there was no sidewalk, so I had to walk on the side of the highway. It was a hot mess. Everybody would be like, Sandra, what is your problem, right? I would daydream and think to myself, what would be so cool if I could have like these concerts, and these concerts with like these motivational speakers, and we could just do this like cool, inspirational thing, and then we could take it all over the world. That would be so awesome. And then it would be all of these people who are like about consciousness. And so it was just like something that I thought about. I never thought it would ever, even though I'm a manifestor and I'm all about energy, I never thought, because I was like, I don't have the money, I don't have connections, I'm walking down the street right now to go to Dunkin' Donuts. And I'm risking my life,
What do you think? You said you didn't have money, you didn't have connections, so what brought it about? What was it?
Actually, if I can just say, really, it's the teachings about what the book is even about. What the entire movement is about is we have this help, this I call it the free Wi-Fi. There's this free Wi-Fi that's out there. And if you can tap into it, you end up getting these impulses. And the impulses that you follow will be much more productive than anything that you've written out and told yourself that you was going to do. Not that you're not supposed to do that. Because when you do those things, when you go get the business cards, when you make the business plan, when you're doing those things, you're putting yourself in that mode that this is what you're going to do. But I promise you, it's always going to be those times when you're washing your hair, when you're walking down the street, when you're doing something else, that you hear that, oh, I should do that. And it feels really, really, really good. When you get that impulse and you hear that prompt inside you, the same thing that we're doing with the AI, I kind of feel like we're AI just a little bit, but that's another story. When you get that prompt, you need to follow it out. Even if it's, ooh, I feel like eating a turkey sandwich. I'm gonna make me a real good turkey sandwich. I'm gonna put turkey on it. I'm gonna go get that fancy lettuce. I'm gonna do it up. I'm gonna put the mustard and the cheese. I'm gonna go get me some rye bread. I'm gonna get the chips. I'm gonna go get the ghetto chips. And I'm gonna make me this good sandwich. I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna watch, I don't know, General Hospital. You know what I'm saying? Like, you think that has nothing to do with your goals. But it does, because when you're sitting there enjoying that sandwich, watching that television, you just might get an idea, because you put yourself in the right frequency. And then when you follow that idea, you will find, oh snap, you know what I mean? Now, I'm not telling you that once you start doing things like this, that you're not going to encounter hardships, because you still are. That's the whole point of life, is for you iron to sharpen iron, for you to go through things, for you to learn things, for you to take it to the next level. That's the whole point, right? If you learned everything and then you were done, then why would you even be here, right? So knowing that that is what I believe, and I kind of would be like often looking at the sky, and I've lost a lot of friends lately, okay? What the hell is going on? Show that you're with me. This is crazy. I sound crazy. again, at that time, it was 2008, 2009, just me talking about that stuff, everybody was like, who is this bitch? She's a little crazy, you know what I'm saying? So now in 2025, we go, oh, manifesting, yes, totally understand, totally what you're saying. But people still don't, because people think it's about writing a list and saying it 50 million times, and that's not really, that's good, but that's not what really makes things happen, you know? So.
That's good. So, the book,
Yes.
Manifest Beauty, the movement, Manifest Beauty.
Yes.
Tell us about the movement.
So the movement itself, I came up with some definitions of what Manifest Beauty is, and one of the, not trying to be fresh here, but one of the things that I'm saying is that we need to take the chaos in life, right? Everybody's going through chaos. It's what we're here to do, is to master the chaos. Well, not really master it, but to kind of, flex it, control it, manipulate it just a little bit, right? You can't get rid of the chaos. That's crazy to think that. You need the chaos in your life, but you want to have more love and trust and fun. Now, what I mean by that is you got to have love, because if you don't have love, I mean, that's even in the Bible, right? If you're not ringing with love, then babe, I don't know what you're doing. You know what I mean? Okay? You have to have the trust, because the trust, you can have faith all day, but you can't. I have big faith. I don't be trusted all the time, right? The trust is the element that you need. And the part of the manifestation, that's my teaching, that most people leave out, and that's where my DJing comes in, is you need to have fun. If you're not having fun, and that's what they mean by you have to accept the kingdom like the children, you need to have fun. Like, you need to do whatever that fun is for you. Some people have fun doing laundry. Sometimes it's really fun pouring the little things in, and I have a whole routine with that. It's fun. You know what I'm saying? That's fun to me. Whatever is fun to you, the things that make your heart sing, So the movement is all about us not accepting life as is, not allowing the circumstances, because I used to do that. The circumstances would drive what I was going to do or what I wasn't going to do. I dropped out of college because I had a black eye in my finals. My man had hit me, and I didn't want to go and face everybody at school, so I ended up getting an incomplete finals. Like, that's insane. And I was like an A student, I let circumstances dictate, and so I decided I wasn't going to do that. That's one of the definitions. The other definition is there's 5 of them, I'm only going to give you 2. The other one is to just create something beautiful in the world using your mind in alignment with source. Meaning that whatever it is that you are going through, that you're wanting to create, don't do it because you're trying to make money, right? Do it because it makes you happy. Do it because your mind is in alignment, and then you will find that all of these steps, all of these helpers, all of these people, all of these opportunities will come to you in ways that you could never try to actually get to happen. You can't knock on somebody's door. Do you know I tried to go to a radio station in New York? I think it was like, because I started getting desperate. I want to say it was like 2015. I was like, come on, Sasha. You did this by walking in the door. Girl, I tried to go in the door. You can't even get to nobody, okay? These days, okay? So you thinking that you can just call people up for sponsorships and whoop-de-whoop and stuff like that, friend, do it. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying, follow the impulses, because you never know. Maybe God might put you right in front of the sponsor that she was trying to get to. And if you just sit up here and have a conversation with him and then tell them what's going on, they'll be like, oh, you know what? Because that's how I got built for a med spa. You know what I'm saying? So that's how everything works for me. So I feel like that's what the message is. It can get sometimes convoluted because it says manifest beauty, that people think that it's about beauty. However, when you follow your heart, you become so beautiful. It's ridiculous. You just gotta let it just like about you, and you don't see it, but other people do.
Thank you. Did you have a blueprint?
No.
Did you have an enormous amount of support, and did you even question yourself along the way?
Listen, I questioned myself the other night. Was it 2 nights ago? I think it was. I woke up in the middle of the night. What am I thinking about doing? Oh my God. Why do I think I can do it better? Why am I doing this? Oh Lord. And then all of a sudden, a sale came through in the middle of the night for a man to come to prom reboot. And I was like, oh, okay, maybe I should calm down. All right, that's you trying to tell me this. Okay, all right. So, no, I did not. The blueprint that I had was just that I knew I wanted it to be a message. The blueprint, because I was in radio, I said, I'm going to put the message out there. Everybody was like, oh, well, if you're going to do this, you should trademark it first. And I was like, I can't, because that would squash it, and people would then think that this is just about money. You know what I mean? If I just make this a business first. So everything that I did was manifest beauty, and I just put it out there, put it out there, put it out there. And then I started seeing other people using it with hashtag, and now there's 50 million people naming their businesses in it. And I had to turn it into a business when this lady and her lipstick, you know what I'm saying? So no, I did not have a blueprint, but now I'm like, oh snap, now I gotta scramble up and get it together, because it became a global thing that people, because I did it the poor man's way. I got my EIN in Manifest Beauty in 2009, right? So I did that first. So I trademarked myself, right? Don't get me wrong. I got my book copyright because it's my stories. Like, I did things that I needed to do, but I didn't want it to really be a business yet, you know? And so I did not have a blueprint, but again, as I find with the impulses, I mean, for crying out loud. You know how I found out about the lady even doing the trademark is because I finally, working at that station out here, getting very fed up that I was lied to. I was like, I gotta do something. I gotta do something. So, you know what? I should just do this Manifest Your Beauty Fest. Girl, I mean, you're on the radio right now. I mean, you got all these connections. You might as well just do it. And then I was like, if I'm gonna start really publicly saying it, I'm gonna have to get this trademark registered, you know? And sure enough, follow the impulse. And what did I see? This woman had registered her trademark for Manifest Beauty on my birthday, so I feel like it's probably somebody I know. And I was like, dang! So I quickly put the information in, completely wrong, by the way. I'm gonna tell you this because you will see so many things about trademark on the internet, right? You don't own it if you don't trademark. Okay, so not that what you're doing has anything to do with this, but just so you know, if you legally get your business together right the first time, right, you are trademarked, okay? Your trademark is when you start business and you start accepting and getting money. You are now trademarked. What we do is we want to register this trademark for protection so that now the government will help you out when you have an issue. Otherwise, you have to keep your own, evidence that you started this and when you started that. And I've been doing that because I knew I was broke when I went to look into it. $250 doesn't sound like a lot of money, but back then when I was working with $400 a month, I was like, I can't give them half my money and I don't even know what I'm doing with this thing, you know? So luckily for me, the impulses that I followed and the trademark people were fantastic. It ended up going back and forth. They denied her anyway, and then mine just came through January 21st. So no blueprint, follow the impulses, and no support. This is so important. I know you guys have heard this a million times. My friends and family have never, even when I was telling them I wanted to be in entertainment, they was kind of like, you can pick a different career. They're not necessarily going to support you, or they're going to support you at the beginning, okay? Because everybody was loving Sandra being a DJ at the very beginning. Like in my post, and hey girl, I see you. Ooh, you in New York? You on the cruise line? Ooh. You keep doing that thing for a couple of years, especially if they ain't your friend. So don't let the not support from your friends and family dictate anything that you do. Right. Because do not let the support of your friends and family dictate anything that you do, okay? Because technically, if you're in business, you should be dealing with strangers. You know what I'm saying? I don't know the people that I DJ for. I don't know them. We may become maybe a little friendly afterwards, but I don't know them. Most of the girlfriends that I have, because I am a little bit of a workaholic, are people that we can do things with one another, you know? If you have an honest relationship with somebody that, listen, I can help you, you can help me, you know what I mean, and we have things in common, that'll be the most honest. This is why business friends be friends for life. Because Because then other people will try to tell you, oh no, I like you for you. Oh yeah, I like you for you. Oh, you trying to do something with your life? Yeah, I'll go to that first one. Oh, and then it becomes, oh, I see you on Facebook, girl. I see you in them gigs, girl. I see you doing your thing. But I don't see you liking nothing. I don't see you saying nothing.
You sharing that.
I don't see you sharing nothing. I be sharing all your little stuff. I be like, well, go ahead, girl. Share with you. Crickets, you know? So do not let any of that ever dictate, because that's kind of one of those, I guess, the wheat in the shaft, metaphor. That's one of those things, that's one of those stumbling blocks to see, you know what I mean? Are you really going to do it? Because technically, again, I'll say it again, when you're in business, you're not dealing with friends and family. You're dealing with strangers. You're finding your tribe out there of people who like what you got to give. And those are the people that you're catering to, not your friends and family. They happy for you, but once you start doing real good, man, listen, I'm telling you, and just get over it.
And I want to add right there too, because you said with the whole family thing and dealing with strangers, sometimes we get caught up in being liked and what will people think and what will they say. And normally that's connected to those around us. Right. Because the people who are strangers don't really know us to begin with. Right. But yet we have this pause and this reservation and resistance about showing up because of what will people think. And they're not our people as in clients, customers from the beginning. So
and they will see you as who you are. That's one of the things, I've heard this before. As a child of Air Force parents, I had to move around anyway. But sometimes you gotta get up out your neighborhood, right? Yes. Like you gotta move, go somewhere. Like go somewhere so that you can be you. Yeah. Because a lot of the time, and again, sometimes this is what happens. You see what I'm saying? Another Bible quote, right? Yeshua, when he went back home, everybody was like, ain't that the carpenter's son, right? Because they like, you know what I mean? We know you. You understand what I'm saying? Right. People from high school, I had a conversation with my best friends from high school, and sure enough, I don't know, about a good 30 minutes in, I was reverting back to 15-year-old Sandra. You understand what I'm saying? And we was cutting it up, and they were, girl, where you been? You ain't even acting like that online. What you understand? Because I'm not 15 anymore. You understand what I'm saying? So you gotta remember that the people that you grew up with, the people that are in your neighborhood, they're gonna have their own vision of you because of whatever, right? That has nothing to do with you. That's none of your business. If you have a dream and you have something that you want to do not wait for support from your folks. Just don't. You know what I mean?
And just you saying that, I'm going back to yesterday, audacity. Audacity. Be audacious. You have the audacity to do something different than whomever.
Exactly.
And just move in that energy.
Yes.
So let's talk Manifest Beauty. Tell us what it is.
So, a little bit. So Manifest Beauty is, I'm creating a whole world with Manifest Beauty because I love entertainment, right? But not so much in that I'm trying to be slapstick funny, you know what I mean? Not so much with that. I just enjoy performing. When I was a kid, I enjoyed it. So what I'm looking to do is incorporate the 5 aspects of entertainment in Manifest Beauty because, again, a lot of it's actually changed now. I feel like I've already had a little bit of an imprint, so things have changed. The material that is out there, although the crime shows are still going crazy, there's so much more inspirational content out there since 2019, especially since 2020, since the pandemic, that it's no longer a foreign concept to have good TV, right? Now people have it out there and all of that good stuff, right? So what I'm doing is, of course, with the DJ, we have the in-person events, and then with the book, this was not something, again, with the book, it was not to be a business thing. I just wanted to get the message out there and have something that once I started talking with people, and they would be like, you should put it in a book. I would be like, ha, So it wasn't ever that I was gonna, try to get 1 million people to buy it or whatnot, just getting the message out there. So we have the in-person events, we have the books, and then I have the podcast. I was also including radio with that, but I think we're gonna leave FM radio where it is right now and just focus on the podcasting. Because again, this is the other thing about when you are in business and you've got your plans, you need to be able to pivot. Stay true to your message, stay true to what it is that you're doing, but also you want to be stay relevant with the times and make sure you're pivoting. And podcasting is just radio and on demand, whereas radio used to be just appointment listening. We also have the merchandise. I'm starting to get into merchandise again. Wasn't planning on it, but because homegirls taking with lipstick, I gotta now get into merchandise. And also with my, I am forgetting one of these. Wait a minute, film. We have movies now, so I took the book and I made a movie out of it. So we have all of these different aspects of entertainment and building the world. And the way that I started it was just telling people to use the hashtag manifest beauty when they are manifesting beauty. So when you're out in the world and you're doing your thing, use the hashtag manifest beauty. If you see something that's gorgeous that God did, use the hashtag manifest beauty. And so it went from there. And that was what we were trying to do. Now I am having to pivot a little bit again because of, how many times am I going to say this lady's name? I haven't said her name yet, but because of this whole lipstick situation, now I need to make it way more of a business. So at this time, I'm focusing on the events because in-person events and AI it's a little AI free. Right, and people love AI. People love AI, but people love in-person events. And virtual events are great, but I think that people really just like with this, it's a much better thing when you're in person. So creating the in-person events, going back to podcasting, leaving the radio alone, and working on a couple of other things: the merchandise, more books, things of that nature.
So, do you all see how you can build from your story?
Yeah.
That was the point of it. Right? And not just thinking about, I want to say minimalistic, that is just one thing, one small thing. No, it's a big thing. And it's how you build with your message and create a movement. One thing, I know you said when you started the book, it was just like a business card for you, a conversation starter. And I do believe the same thing, but over in Independent Profit, we write to get paid.
Right. I know she got profit in the name of her
Purpose,
seminar, so she had money.
Yes. But I like the fact that it built into a movement and a movement of inspiration, motivation, and still opportunity. Because there's other opportunities. Your merchandise isn't free.
No, the merchandise isn't free.
Right. Going to events isn't free. You can monetize a podcast. There's other ways that you can do things. So it's you deciding what you want to do, how you want to do it, and just not taking no for an answer.
Exactly.
Yeah, not taking no for an answer.
Exactly.
So let's take some questions, see if anyone has questions.
Does anybody have any questions?
I don't have no questions, but right now, I've been sitting here and I was gonna walk out. I'm gonna be transparent. I'm very, when it comes to energy, spirit, it's real big, and I'm emotional right now because how God is working right now for me. And like I said, I'm gonna be transparent. I was trying to hold back the tears. I was crying. Everything that Dr. Tamira said, everything that everybody said up here, like I said, I'm real spiritual when it comes down to certain things. And when I first walked in here, and even when you came in, I got something, from it. And I'm crying because God is in the midst of this, okay? God is in the midst of this. That's the reason why I'm crying right now. So I took down some notes, and it's confirmation for me. It's confirmation for me. Yesterday I got terminated from my job. I was coming here anyway. For years, I've been asking God, when are you going to release me from this job? And it wasn't like I didn't like my job. I work for the school system. I love the kids. I love the people. It wasn't the kids. It was the adults. Okay. So, and I still stood strong as they walked past me, walked over me. I was a sub. Full-time sub, doing no benefits, no nothing. Doing everything that everybody else does, right? But they're gonna tell me why they don't wanna hire me full-time. Mind you, I done gave you all these years. I do the same thing everybody else does, but you wanna say why. When I see all these people walking in here, you hiring them from off the street, okay? Whenever you ask me to go somewhere, I go. Even though sometimes I don't wanna go, but when I get there, it's a mission. Because our kids in these schools, they need guidance. They need us to be able to help these kids. Our kids are dealing with a lot of stuff, okay? They dealing with mental health issues. You got kids, I see kids every day that talk about committing suicide. Coming to school, don't even have food to eat. But and then y'all, these teachers, these principals, these people in these schools, these are kids from my community that I know that's going through this stuff and stuff that I have seen when I was a kid. So as you begin to talk, mind you, I just got terminated, right? And I wasn't sad, I wasn't bitter when I went in there. And they said, well, we're gonna have to let you go. Okay, that's all I said. I said, okay. I wasn't scared, I wasn't nervous, because I know that my higher power, who I choose to call God, through all the stuff that I have been through in my life, He never left me nor forsake me. He always provided. Even with my nonprofit program. If it was just me, when it comes down to support, He provides all my needs, right? So when you went to talk, you know, and I wrote down some stuff, because you was touching bases on, and I know it was God. That's how come I couldn't hold back the tears, because I know it ain't nobody but Him. I know it's nobody but Him. So, before I went into the office, you know, to be terminated, I seen on TV, I had told my husband, I said, honey, I'm thinking about doing a podcast, right? He said, I think you'll do good with it. Then I see something on TV saying, if you wanna get into radio, or if you wanna get into filming, if you wanna get into, you know, I'm already in the arts, right? So this is flashing on the TV. You want to get into all of this, you know, just call this number. And which I did, and they called me back. They called me back. Now all of this is going on before I even go and get terminated, right? So they called me back, but I didn't reach back out to him yet, right? So, and my husband directs and produce stage plays, right? So, then you went on to say blackball. I felt like I was blackball. I felt like I was blackball. And it was something else that you said when it comes down to the people. And my husband always told me, he said, honey, he said, listen, he said, you gotta love your critics. You gotta love them too. You gotta love all of them. All of them. Right? Then you went on to say about that sandwich. I had a good old sandwich last night. I had a good old turkey sandwich. Yes, I did. All right? The same day that I got terminated from my job, okay? I'm sitting at the table. My husband when I came home from work, I made me a nice, healthy one too. It was nice and thick. Turkey.
I saw it too.
Yeah. Turkey. I had that good old, that nice sandwich. The support. You're right. You know, I always have to tell myself that, well, I started my nonprofit in 2007, and it started out with just me. My husband was my number one fan. That's all I had was him, my number one fan. My kids, just like I seen Dr. Tamara's daughters, they here, you know, with their mother. It was right.
Yes.
With their mother. That's a beautiful thing. Because guess what? I started out with my two boys. My two, they was little, one was like 7, the other one was about 10. And look, when they say, oh, it's a promotion. When there's a parade, yeah, it was just us 3. I had a banner. They was holding a banner, and I had my ropes, because I teach double dutch. I had my ropes, and I was just pulling people out of the on the street. Come on, give me this rope. Let's jump. Support.
Strangers.
Yeah, strangers. Because right now, you know, like even, you know, like your friends and your relatives. They tell me, yeah, I support you, but how you support me when you know that? Right, you know what I'm saying? Okay, I done had all these events and you ain't came to one. You ain't even say, let me just buy a ticket and bless somebody else to be able to come. You know what I'm saying? Support.
Lady Carrie on the whole weekend. So.
You don't even, I mean, I just tell you this because just like I said, so the other day I was laying in bed and I was like, really, what am I doing? And I have this marketing mentor because even though I can market the heck for anybody else as a radio person, that was what I did, right? But when it comes to myself, and because I feel like this is a very intricate, it's not a soundbite message. I can't just put what it is that I'm doing in a 15-second soundbite, you know?
Right.
I can kind of give you a little bit of a taste, but I can't explain it all. The way that you are feeding me right now. The way that you are feeding me back. And I wrote that in the book too, because that's the way it works. Is somebody will say something to you that feeds you, and then when you speak it back, it feeds the person who's saying it. You know what I mean? And giving me confirmation too, that this is what I'm supposed to be doing. So all this craziness that I'm going through, because I do like to reference myself as Jonah and Gideon. Because I sure need to be, I need a lot of reassurance. You know what I'm saying? That I ain't making this up. You know what I mean? So, continue.
And when you said the movement and not let circumstances stop you, that's a big one. You know, there's plenty of times that I felt like just like throwing in the towel. But then when I say to myself, nah, I done came too far. You know, God has brought me too far. And another thing too, when God gives you something, you can't give up on it. You know what I'm saying? Right. And then last but not least, Mark 6:4 say, a prophet is not without honor, except in his own town, amongst his relatives, and in his own home. And I really believe that, you know, I mean, you mentioned that, as far as being in your own city, your own town, and people not accept you, you know. If you didn't come up with the idea, you know, why should I support you? And it's not about that, it's about supporting the vision that God has given somebody and help advance it. That's how I do it.
Yeah.
That's how I do it. But thank you so much.
Thank you.
And what you said, Lady Carrie, I just want to point out because you kept saying what you said, and everything that Sandra was saying was her story.
Right.
And that was the connection piece. Her story inspired you. Your story, you sharing your experience, what you just happened within the last 24, 48 hours still spoke life into her, inspired her. That is the power of our stories. The power of our stories.
Yes, absolutely. Manifesting beauty, you can learn from anyone, anything, any place, because you can also learn from places.
That's right.
Right? Okay? If you allow yourself to, if you are open to it, you can get the inspiration. And artists and sports people, what they call it is the flow. But everyone can access the flow and get that information and that thing going, you know?
Yes. All right. Any questions?
Any other questions?
Any questions? All right. Can we go around it? Oh.
Not a question. I have one other question. You talked about the 5 aspects of entertainment. Can you just give me those?
Yes, so we have books, in-person events, FM radio, and podcast now. Right? Merchandise. And then also the DJ. Well, DJ is completely. I made a little tiny bit of music. I figured that would be something that when I'm like, in my 60s, I'll start producing songs, you know, because that's also another thing I like to do. I made a little song. I use it for my random ish. I use it for my podcast. That's my music that I made.
All right. Can we clap it up, give a round of applause?
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much.
Can I get a, wait, my thing is.
Marlon, can you
Can I get a record?